When Ravish Kumar says that it is Godi media, what the term he used Godi media. When you talk about Godi media, we have a anti-caste movement, which works against the casteism, which is raising very serious question on the structure of Indian newsrooms. That why our people are not there in your media organization? Why Dalit people, Bahujan people are not editors, reporters, or anchors in your newsrooms? When we raises these questions, we call this media Manu stream media or mainstream media instead of Manu media. We call it. But when you use this Godi media term, your entire anti-caste movement is gone. It is not relevant because Godi is, it is related to Modi, so they call it Godi media, Modi media, but we call it Manu media. This process of raising questions was never stopped. You look at the history of Bahujan movement, anti-caste movement. This it is never stopped. Our people always raised questions. They kept asking why there is inequality in the society. Great heroes and sheroes like Buddha, Ravidas, Mata Ramai, Mata Savitribai Phule, Kabir, they all used their Vani as a journalism tool, and wherever father of the nation Jyotiba Phule, Baba Sahib Dr. Ambedkar, Periyar Sahib, Manevar Kanshiram Sahib, they also adopted the modern methods of journalism in their work. And when we work, when we work as a Dalit Bahujan background person, so they call us Dalit Bahujan media. But they do not call themselves Brahman Baniya media. They says that we are mainstream media, but they label us with the Dalit Bahujan media only. So Dalit media is not only a media that protects the interest of the Bahujans. I believe that it is not only for the Bahujans, but it is also necessary for deepening the democracy of India.
Sumit, I welcome you on behalf of ANA.
Thank you, Piyush. Thank you.
I'd like to begin by introducing Sumit. Sumit Chauhan is a renowned journalist. He is the founder of two news outlets, the Shudra and Newsbeak. He's a staunch Ambedkarite. He started his journalism career with News Nation. And he has also worked with mainstream news channels such as ABP News, Z News, and India News. He started the Newsbeak and the Shudra, which are both Ambedkarite news outlets, Ambedkarite media ventures, which are dedicated to the marginalized and weaker sections of the society. He primarily works on caste, class, gender, social justice, equity, minority, environment, human rights, Dalit rights, and the constitution. What is journalism in the true sense? One must take lessons from Sumit in his honest criticism of the current journalistic practices. And it is very much evident in his principle and moralistic approach to journalism. Recently, he conducted a YouTube conference for the reporters from marginalized communities in Delhi. Although he understands that more work is needed in the field of journalism and creating a ground for next level aspiring journalists. So Sumit, we welcome you and please proceed with your talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Piyush, for the introduction. I started my career with ABP News, not News Nation, just a correction. Namo Buddhai, Jai Bhim to everyone. It is a great moment for me to share screen and views with my brothers and sisters who are based in the United States of America and other parts of the world. I'm very proud that we have a very strong global Ambedkarite community who is not only, just talking about the issues of caste, but also participating in the anti-caste movement in their respective areas. We are celebrating April as the Dalit History Month, and today is the 2nd April. So let me start with the remembering of our 13 martyrs of community who sacrificed themselves just to save the protection law, the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocities Act in 2018, when there was an attempt to weaken the law. So I pay my tribute to the martyrs of our community member. This is really sad that our people have to die even to save the protection laws like SCST in our motherland. Even today, many of our people from community are suffering a lot in the clutches of the casteism that has been going on for centuries. The incident of atrocities against Dalits are increasingly continuously. They are increasing. More than 50,000 cases of atrocities are registered annually in India, according to National Crime Record Bureau. But Indian media is ignoring us completely. We became headlines in mainstream media. We should call it Manustream media. So we become headlines in Manustream media only when, either we are raped, our houses are burnt, or our community people are killed. Then only we are in their headlines. Otherwise, they have nothing to do with our issues, whatever guys are going through. Baba Sahib Dr. Ambedkar used to say that it is very important for the deprived classes to have their own media. And because Baba Sahib Dr. Ambedkar was aware that media is a great tool to improve the society and to raise the problem of our people, so he used journalism as a tool to empower his community. So therefore, before I talk about the challenges of Ambedkarite journalism, I would try to explain to you what is journalism and what is Ambedkarite journalism, what is the meaning of Ambedkarite journalism, and what is the Dalit Bahujan legacy of journalism. So I would try to, make you understand that why we are discussing the Ambedkarite journalism and celebrating the spirit of anti-caste journalism. I've been a student of journalism and I'm a professional journalist working with different media organizations over a decade. So I have some basic training and understanding of journalism. In the Indian Institute of Mass Communication, India's largest, media school, the very reputed media school in Delhi, we were taught many definitions of journalism during our studies when I was, doing my course of journalism at IIMC Delhi. But there are some few definitions which I find really interesting, as we were told in classrooms that journalism is the fourth pillar of democracy. लोकतंत्र का चौथा खंबा होता है मीडिया, on which India stands as a nation. एक राष्ट्र के तौर पे हम देश को बनाते हैं, बेहतर बनाते हैं, and it is the responsibility of the journalist to work hard to make the country a better place for humankind and ask important questions to the other three pillars of democracy so that justice can be established in the country. This is the prime responsibility of journalists. But when we, entered in the news industry of India, we entered in the newsroom, we came to know that in reality, it is the Chotha Khamba Private Limited. It's a company and that works for the profit and loss only, which only takes care of the profit and loss while doing business of news, actually. So they have nothing to do with the democracy or the very foundations of our society. Unfortunately, instead of strengthening the roots of democracy, I find, that Indian Manustri media is hollowing them out. They are, weakening the very foundation of Indian democracy. In IIMC, we were also told the definition of journalism in different way, that journalism means raising questions. You need to raise a question mark. Whatever is going wrong around you, put a question mark on it and ask why it is going wrong. This is the prime responsibility, that you need to raise a question mark. Who is responsible for this? Who is directly responsible, and why these things are happening around, why people are being deprived of their basic rights, why things are not going in a right way. So you just need to put a question mark. That is the journalism in a simple language, like a layman notion of journalism. It just raises question mark. That's your prime responsibility if you're a journalist. So under this definition, when I see whether India's Manustream media is really saying wrong to wrong, and does Indian media really have the power to question? Do they really have? So I find that the Indian media is working only for the interest of few castes and classes and doesn't care about the democratic values and ethos of journalism. So during my career also, I've seen lots of, these things, that Indian media doesn't have that democratic values, and it is not supporting the country, but they are, weakening the foundation of Indian democracy, and they are not raising any question marks, which was the prime responsibility of them. But when I look at the history of the Bahujan movement under this questioning definition, that you need to raise a question mark. When I look at the history of anti-caste movement, Dalit Bahujan movement in India, under this questioning definition, I find that our forefathers and our foremothers were raising question against wrong for centuries. It's a long history that we have. They were asking who divided the society on the basis of caste and varna. They were directly asking you, किसने बनाई जात पात, किसने बांट दिया समाज को? They stood against injustice. They stood on the side of the weak and looked into the eyes of the tyrannical powerful. They were asking who gave you the right to call someone high or low on the basis of birth. They were raising question marks. So this tradition of questioning connect us to the Tathagat Buddha, because Buddha was also saying that no one is greater than the other in this world. So he was raising a question mark against the injustice happening around his time. Tathagat Buddha was raising questions against wrong in his time. So in my view, Tathagat is also in the role of a journalist who was doing excellent journalism in his time. That's why when someone, asks me that, what is your legacy of journalism? Who inspires you in the journalism, I see my legacy, my inspiration connecting with Tathagat Buddha. Our forefathers never accepted, injustice and always spoke and wrote against inequality when during their time period. They were just, questioning it. If we look at the medieval period after Buddha, Sant Ravidas, it's seen raising very, very strong questions, very important questions on the Brahminical system. वो ब्राह्मणवाद पे सीधे सवाल खड़े करते हैं, सीधा सवाल पूछते हैं. He was challenging the system that discriminates between high and low on the basis of birth. जन्म के आधार पे जिसने भी जो है जात पात को बनाया, संत रविदास उस पर सवाल उठा रहे थे. तो संत रविदास was saying, रविदास जन्म के कारण है होत न को नीच नकर को नीच करी डारी है ओछे कर्म की कीच. This is your work which decides that you are a good person or bad person. Ravidas was saying it is not based on your birth. This is your job which you are doing. So Ravidas rejects the caste system and asks very strong questions. He asks that why even a stupid Brahmin is worshipable but not a virtuous Chandal. So he talk about Brahman mat pujiye jo hove gunhin, pujiye charan Chandal ke jo hove gun parveen. And on the other side, what Tulsidas Dubey, a Brahmin person who wrote Ramcharitmanas, he was saying that Puje Viprasakal Gunhina Shudra Pije Gyan Parvina. Even though Shudra person is having lots of virtues, but he not supposed to worship, but a Brahmin who might be an idiot person, you need to worship him. So Ravidas was raising a question mark. जात जात में जात है जो केतन के पात रैदास मनुष्य न बन सके जब लग जात न जात. Our people were trying to make a society where there is no injustice, there is no inequality, there is like everyone is living with harmony. ऐसा चाहूं राज में जहां मिले सबन को अन छोट बड़े सब संग बसे रैदास रहे प्रसन्न. So that kind of idea of society Begumpura are Sant Ravidas was dreaming of. So Sant Ravidas was asking very important question while agitating against the caste system during his time. So in my view, in my point of view, Sant Ravidas was also doing a wonderful journalism to make the society better. So I find my inspiration to Ravidas also. You come to Sant Kabir, look at the work which he was doing. Kabir asked, Jo tu baban bamni jaya, an bat kahe na aya. Kabir asked that if you are the best being a Brahmin only, then how come you were, you were born in the same way as I am born? So he asked the direct question, and it was very something really important because at that time Brahminical system was very, very strong, but he was not afraid and he was raising question marks. This is the job of a journalist to raise a question mark, no matter whatever the time is. So Kabir says on the question of merit and equality also, जाति ने पूछो साधु की पूछ लीजिए ज्ञान मोल करो तलवार का पड़ा रहन दो म्यान तुम कछु बामन हम कछु सूद हमरा कैसे लहू तुमरा कैसे दूध. So that kind of very, very serious question he was raising against the injustice which was established at that time. So that's why I see Kabir also as a brilliant journalist who was daring to call wrong as wrong in his time and raising the very right question. So I find my inspiration to Kabir. So we have a legacy of journalism. This process of raising questions were never stopped. You look at the history of Bahujan movement and the caste movement. This it is never stopped. Our people always raised questions. They kept asking why there is inequality in the society. Great heroes and sheroes like Buddha, Ravidas, Mata Ramai, Mata Savitribai Phule, Kabir, they all use their Vani as a journalism tool. And wherever father of the nation, Jyotiba Phule, Baba Sahib Dr. Ambedkar, Periyar Sahib, Manevar Kanshiram Sahib, they also adopted the modern methods of journalism in their work while they were fighting against the injustice and casteism. We have a great legacy of journalism. Father of the nation, Mahatma Jyotiba Phule, also made journalism a weapon to awaken his society. He, started the Marathi newspaper Deen Bandhu along with his one of his friend. It was published for the first time in Pune, the British India, in the year 1877. So we must recognize that they were also using the modern method of journalism. The newspaper served as an outlet for Satya Shodhak Samaj, which was a social reform society formed by Jyotiba Phule. The founder of this newspaper was Krishna Rao Pandurang Bhalekar, who was a close associate of Mahatma Jyotiba Phule. So they both of them were, running this newspaper called Deen Bandhu. So he was using journalism as a tool to awaken his society. Look at the Baba Sahib Dr. Ambedkar. We know that he was a multitasker. He was multi-talented. He has lots of qualities in different areas of life, but he spent more than 36 years of his life as a journalist also. So he was a brilliant journalist also. So Dr. Ambedkar was also a brilliant journalist. He did journalism for the depressed classes for more than 36 years in his life. Dr. Ambedkar's newspaper have played an important role in India's anti-caste struggle from 1920 to 1956 when he was running different newspapers. So he published Mook Nayak in 1920, then I guess Bahishkrit Bharat in 1927, Samta 1928, Janata 1930, and Prabudh Bharat was started in the day before of his Mahaparinirvana in 1956 during his life. So Baba Sahib Dr. Ambedkar was using journalism's modern tool as a a great weapon for their society, and he was spreading the great views of his against the anti-caste movement. So Baba Sahib used, journalism, which was really important for him by that time. He said that all of the media, which was publishing newspapers that time, because only the newspapers and magazines were the source of news of media by that time. He said that this media is just the Baman Baniya media. It is serving for the Savarna people only, and it has nothing to do with the downtrodden people, the depressed people, and they many times they work against the deprived section. So Baba Sahib used to say that the underprivileged people should have their own media because Indian media is caste. So that's why he started more than around five newspapers and periodicals at his time. So come to the legacy I was talking about Ambedkar journalism. Come to Periyar. Look at his work. He was a great person who was, doing great service to the community. So Periyar's contribution to the field of journalism is also very significant. We must appreciate and we must, look at the side of the journalism also, the what kind of journalism they were delivering. So he was also associated with newspapers and magazines titled Kudiyarasu, Dravidian Revolt, Purachi, Pagutharavi, Viduthalai, Justice, Umai, and the Modern Rationalist was started in 1971. So he lost some of the newspapers. Many of the newspapers were edited by him. He spent a sizable chunk of his earnings on these newspapers and journalists. He lost money in these ventures and was jailed for on many occasions actually for his editorial and whatever he was writing and publishing in his newspaper against the Brahminical system. So he was jailed because of journalism and editorials also, and that threat is also there nowadays also. So we'll talk about later. So, but this our hero like Peria, they did not allow that to alter his concern. He was very concerned about the society, and his commitment to human values was unshakable. He was doing great journalism by his work. So I find my inspiration to Baba Sahib Dr. Ambedkar and Periyar and different people like him. So look at the Manevar Kanshiram Sahib. He had himself started bringing out weekly newspapers after recognizing the casteist character of mainstream media. He started the Oppressed Indian, a monthly journal, which is established on April 1979. After the relaunch of BAMSAFE in 1978, he started publishing this, the Oppressed Indian. And for the editorial of the inaugural issue, he wrote, all these people of the backward and minority communities who form about 85% of the India's population have little share in the news service of the nation. He also, started his Hindi weekly Bahujan Sangathak on 14 April 1980. And these are one of the finest example of journalism in India when I look at the history of Ambedkar journalism and the legacy of journalism. So these ancestors of mine were doing journalism in a real sense, who were trying to eradicate inequality, untouchability, injustice, and casteism from the society with the help of their journalism. So they were using journalism as a tool to strengthen their community. In my view, this is Ambedkarite journalism, and this is the journalism which my forefathers and foremothers were doing to make the society better. Therefore, I guess Ambedkarite journalism means efforts to improve the society and to use our journalism not to protect the interest of the ruler, but to protect the interest of deprived classes. So my legacy is that I'm talking about. This is the Ambedkar journalism and the missionary work that our forefathers were doing years ago. Today, our YouTubers, small YouTubers, small influencers, digital journalists are doing the same work with small mobiles in their hand, the creative tools, the digital tools which are available now. So we are carrying forward that legacy of Ambedkar journalism. This is the legacy of Ambedkar journalism. So I'm very proud that I'm, playing my part in carrying forward the legacy of Ambedkar journalism, and I'm in a profession through which I can use to deliver something, the justice to the victims of my community. So I'm trying to use the tool of journalism for my community so that I can serve them and we can, deliver them justice. So we are Ambedkarite and we are doing the Ambedkar journalism. So this is the Ambedkar journalism for me to make the society better and to work for my community people. But Indian media, this is serving for the only their own interest, their caste interest only. Recently, there is a survey that 90% of Indian media is dominated by the upper caste. We call it dominant caste. In India, and none of the any newspaper, magazines, or digital platforms or TV channels having the Dalit Bahujan editor, reporter, or anchor in their news organization. I was working as the single Dalit person in all four major Hindi news channels when I was working with Manustream Media. So I never found somebody from my community who shared the same experiences and same stories of casteism and different kind of experiences in your newsroom. So Indian newsroom is an exclusive caste club where only you will entered or entry is permitted if you belong to the same class or caste, and otherwise there is no entry for our people. And when we work as a Dalit Bahujan background person, so they call us Dalit Bahujan media, but they do not call themselves Brahman Baniya media. They says that we are mainstream media, but they label us with the Dalit Bahujan media only. So Dalit media is not only a media that protects the interest of the Bahujans. I believe that it is not only for the Bahujans, but it is also necessary for deepening the democracy of India. Because Dalit media raises the real issues of the large population of this country, which is really important for the people of this country. We mix videos from very small mobiles and raises the voice of the victims. We make small clips. Our people are very creative. They record when some atrocities are happening around. They put it on social media, makes a hashtag and trend on social media, and we appeal for justice and using the power of social media creates a massive mass movement like Bharat Bandh on 2nd April 2018. It was the movement which a historical movement in India where there was no leader, no someone who was leading the movement, but it was a mass movement, and social media played a really very massive role in that Bharat Bandh of 2nd April 2018. So we have the power of social media, and our people are using it very creatively. So we are using social media as a tool to help our community. I sometimes I think that Mark Zuckerberg had no idea when he was inventing Facebook or expanding Facebook that one day Dalit Bahujan people from India would do journalism on Facebook and create a huge impact. So now our people on YouTube, Facebook, so Twitter or Instagram, they are creating huge impact on the Dalit issues nationwide and globally now. So we are very creatively using all the available tools. So this is really important to us that our people are, joining the Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. They are purchasing new devices. They are getting Wi-Fi connection. They are the first generation who are having the digital equipment in their hand. And when they look for the content of Dalit issues, when they want to know something that what is happening around to our community people, if any case like Hathras or Lakhimpur Kheri happens, so they look at for the content and most of the Bahujan Dalit news organizations, small news organizations are making content. They are making videos. They are doing research. They are doing, snippet on some particular issues and doing ground reports as well. So we are providing the content to the community, and they are, getting the real information, not the fake or the Savarna narrative, but the Bahujan narrative, which is really important for the community. So, in my opinion, this is Dalit Bahujan media, which is the labeled by the Savarna people. But yes, we have the power of being a Dalit or Bahujan. I take it in a positive way that yes, we are the Bahujan media, and we are the mainstream media. You are the monostream media, and because we are raising the real issue, which impacts the larger population of the India. 85% of the Bahujan community are ignored by the Mano media, but now our people are talking about, we are telling our own stories, we are giving the real information information in a good Ambedkarite perspective to the community. So we are serving the larger community. So we are the mainstream media and using this digital journalism as a tool to strengthen our community. So I find that Ambedkarite journalism is really important to make the society better, to make this nation great, and to deepen the democracy of India because we are the people, we are the community journalists who are raising really good, important issue. Otherwise, look at the Indian media, what Indian media is doing. They are just, doing the Hindu-Muslim binary, talking about shit on their TV channels and, setting the agenda of their own masters. So we don't believe that they're doing journalism, but instead of them, our people, community journalists are really doing great job. So now, this is the definition of Ambedkar journalism. I hope that this is going to make you understand that what exactly I was looking to tell you. So now I would, as the topic to me is given that challenges to Ambedkarite media, I'm going to talk about that. So I would like to talk about the challenges to Ambedkarite media nowadays in India, and I'll talk about the top 10 challenges which are facing by us in currently in India. So what are the top 10 challenges to Ambedkarite media nowadays? One of the the number one issue or just challenge to the Bahujan Ambedkarite media is the sustainability, which is the most strong, point in this community journalism. That what kind of sustainable model we should have that we can sustain, we can work, because most of these small community-based media organization are, facing resources crunches. They don't have funds. They are less equipped, and they are like not getting any funds or donations from the independent media organization which support the independent journalism, but because we are working anti-caste and nobody want to support the anti-caste news organization. So one of the main concern is that how to sustain, because there is a limitation of content also, because we are into community journalism and most of our videos, like if I'm creating on Dalit atrocity, any rape or gang rape is happen, any kind of brutalities happen, on any kind of atrocities happen to the community people. If I'm going to make a video on that, so I put it on Facebook or YouTube, then YouTube and Facebook, they restrict my video, and this is a sensitive category video, and we cannot monetize this video. So most of the video which are based on such issues, on atrocities or brutality on community, and none of our video is being monetized by the Facebook or YouTube. So we face the revenue loss also, that comes under the sensitive category, and they're not going to pay for this particular video. But this issue is really important for community, so we try to make the videos on it, and most of the time our videos are, they don't pay us. They are not monetized by the social media organizations and like Facebook or Twitter. So we also face the revenue crunch, that how we can survive, how we can have more people on team, how we can purchase equipment, what kind of revenue model we can go for. So that's the sustainability question is also very, very important for the Bahujan media right now, because there are numbers of small media organizations which are working now, and right now numbers of YouTubers are going to work on the caste issue, but most of them have less equipment, less staff. We don't have office. Like if you talk about Newsbeak, we are only 5 people working on the organization, but we don't have office, and we have to work in very limited resources. So we cannot cover most of the stories in different part. We cannot have most of reporters in different areas of nation. So we have to face it, and we or most of the time we have to deal with the sustainability question. So one of the fine and number one challenge to Ambedkarite media is the sustainability, that what kind of model we should have that we can sustain and we can keep working, because we have seen that numbers of media organization which were started earlier are like shut down. Look at the Baba Sahib Dr. Ambedkar's newspapers. Like he started 5 newspapers, but all of the newspapers were shut down because they were not surviving. They were not going to make revenue, and none of other people were investing on that. So they stopped printing and producing news in Ambedkarite manner. So that's a number one, I guess, a challenge to the Ambedkarite media. Second, I would say that the challenge to Ambedkarite media is the government's evil eye on Bahujan media, because government is very strict on looking that what kind of content we are generating. There is a movie called Dabang, if you guys might have seen. दबंग फिल्म है सलमान खान की और उसमें एक डायलॉग है when सोनाक्षी सिन्हा is doing something and that Salman Khan comes and they had some dialogue. I don't know exact the scene, but dialogue is like थप्पड़ से डर नहीं लगता साहब प्यार से डर लगता है. So that's a dialogue in that movie. So sometime I feel that when our Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Home Minister Amit Shah they might discussing something. So what would they say about media? They might be saying like media से डर नहीं लगता साहब social media से डर लगता है because they can control the media. They can direct the editors or the news organizations leaders, but they cannot directly stop the social media because social media is really challenging them, that giving them a tough fight. So they don't like social media and people like us who are doing community journalism in India. So they are keeping an evil eye on Bahujan media, and lots of government restrictions are coming to stop us, to harass us in a different way. For example, look at the IT Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2022, which is really, I would say that it is not to support the independent journalist like us. It is something which is going to stop you, which is going to harass you in a way that you have to follow lots of rules which are established by the Government of India, Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code. So you are compelled to follow those rules. For example, if you are working as an independent journalist, you have to be a registered entity. You have to be a legal identity entity. You need to set up your office. You need to make your website. You need to put your address on your website. You need to send your list of the employees to the government. You need to follow the company laws in India. And if you are working as a media outlet, then you have to have a self grievance redressal committee within your news organization, that if somebody is not happy with your content, or they don't like your content, so they can complaint about your content to your redressal committee. So some kind of ombudsman would be there who will look at the complaint and try to resolve the complaint. And if that is not going to happen, and that person is not happy with the solution or the redressal which is done by the grievance redressal committee, then you have to be a member of the bigger larger digital media organization who will also deal with the complaints against your content. So you have to be a member of a bigger digital media organization, and that media organization which is going to be dealing with the grievance of your content has to be head by one of the retired high court judge who will lead the team and might redress your grievance of content. So this is really tough for us. Like if small news organization like us are working, so how are we gonna hire a retired high court judge as a ombudsman for the that digital media organization, so that we can meet the government guidelines? So that is going to be really tough job for us. So that is something really difficult for a small organization like us, or the independent organizations who are working into field of community journalism and raising really serious question mark on Indian government and their anti-people policies. So that become a challenge to us nowadays. And second thing, like recently there was a decision by the government of India that there is a PIB. We have the Press Information Bureau, which is responsible for sharing the government officials' reports or the news or information to the nation. So PIB is a government organization in India. So now what the government of India IT Ministry has decided, that anybody who puts something related to news or any particular journalistic thing on social media, PIB will fact check it. It's a responsibility of PIB to fact check if that report is true, that information is true, or whatever me or any other independent journalist is sharing, that has to be verified by the PIB. So the PIB himself, no, PIB if when we look at the different tweets or the past of PIB, it has shared numbers of fake news. PIB itself shared numbers of fake news. So we are afraid that this PIB is not going to help us and will be forced to make corrections or to delete our post if any PIB team find that if any atrocities happen there, if any law is there, if any budget allocation is there, and that is not going to meet its ends, and that is not going to fulfill whatever it is the purpose. So if we are talking about that, so they can come and they can just put that this is a fake news, this is the fake tweet, and we are compelled by the law that you need to delete all of the news from all of your social media platforms. Otherwise, we are going to be in jail. For example, if we talk about any atrocity case, and I talk to the SHO, the police officials, and I put the statement by the police officials on my report or any tweet or post on Facebook or Twitter. And if that SHO, the police official, or the other government official says that no, I have not made any statement like this, then I am compelled to delete or to face the legal consequences, because PIB gonna make it that this is a fake news. They can deny the statement. So it's kind of trap. It's kind of pressure which Indian government is building on us. So they are afraid of the Bahujan Dalit Bahujan media and the alternate media. So they are trying to make different rules, difficult rules, so that we are trapped and we are forced to quit the mainstream community journalism. So they are working lots of anti Bahujan Dalit media policies in their areas actually. So this is I believe that one of the challenge to the Ambedkarite media nowadays. And the third, the challenge to Ambedkarite media is that it's a harassment to the community journalist also. That numbers of cases, FIR, threats, and assaults are also being done to the community journalists. The government is forcing them, or the state authorities or the police authorities. They are people from the parties also, the ruling parties also. They goes to the police station because they have the links and connections. So they file cases against you. They put FIR. They threats you, and their physical assaults also on the community journalist in India. We have seen numbers of people are being targeted for just speaking truth in India. So there is kind of harassment also, and because we are online-based media organization, so we have to face the trolling also. Numbers of trollers are there from the particular right-wing or some ideological groups, and they keep and they threats you, they abuses your family, they harasses you online, and the trolling is always there, which sometimes disturbs you because you are a human being, you are working on particular issues, and they come and they threats you, they give you call, they send you inbox threats, they make memes on you, some vulgarity content on you, and put it on Facebook and Twitter and other social media handles of yours, and they are trying to disturb you also. So that kind of harassment is also faced by the community journalist in India nowadays. Now, I believe that this is going to be a very serious challenge to the Ambedkarite media right now. And now the fourth challenge, which I see as a journalist, community journalist in India, is that online media organization like social media or the Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, they are also kind of building pressure to the Bahujan media outlets in India also, because social media companies are just a company. They are working for the profit and loss only, and they have they don't care about whether we are using the media platforms as a journalistic tool, or because they are working to make profit only, and they are shaking hands with the government also. We have numbers of cases in India when the ruling parties official ministers official office bearers people or the workers were using very vulgar language, threatening language, anti-national language on their social media platform, were trying to talk about something really bad about the Muslim community or Dalit community on their social media handles. But these Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter were not suspending their accounts. We have seen it in India, and numbers of cases are there when the officials of these social media companies have accused of being linked with the government officials. There was a lady from India who was heading the Facebook India, and she was accused of supporting BJP workers and officials and not taking actions. She stopped their teammate to take action against their handle. So now they are working with the government's policies also, and shaking hands with the government. So what that means, that they build pressure on social influencers, social activists, and journalists like us. So sometimes they shadow ban you. They'll ban your handles or page, that it is not going to appear in different timelines. So they shadow ban you sometimes. So many times they limitize your reach, that it is very limited, that people are not getting notification. They are not getting information that you have posted it, or you have released a video, or you are doing something on your handle or timeline. So they will not see it, that the suggestions video, the news feed is going on your timeline, but it is not showing the person who is writing something like that. So they shadow ban you. They limitize your reach, and they also suspends accounts and handles also, if any demand is there from government, or legal demand is there from the government, or anything like community that report is there. There's numbers of these trollers. They reports your account, and if numbers of reports are there, so they suspend or withheld or limitize your account also. So we are facing that kind of threat also from the social media companies. And they also remove, many times they remove our trends from the list also, because when you're raising some issues which is really important for the community, and that is trending, most of the people are from the community are coming and writing on Twitter or Facebook. So many times we have seen that they have removed our trends. They have removed the word from the trending list. So that kind of things are also going on. And in terms of verification also, we have also faced many difficulties in India, because if you talk about the Twitter verification, recently Twitter is going to give you the paid verification. If you subscribe to the Twitter Blue, you will get a verification. Otherwise, before 2-3 years, it was really difficult for Bahujan people to get verification on social media. It was distributed based on caste. It was distributed on basis of social link, and many upper caste people, dominant caste people were enjoying. They were trying to be the opinion maker. They were going to set the agenda on social media. Our people were deprived of the blue checks mark. So we campaign a lot on Twitter, on Facebook, that you are going to discriminate on digital platforms, and we cannot accept it. So we raised a great campaign, and this is good that people are now, if you pay, you can have a blue check mark, and there is no you don't need to show your genuine or the caste connection to the social media handle. So these are some of the examples which nowadays people are facing in India, if we talk about the counter journalism. Second thing is the fifth point from the challenges, I would say, is the credibility. Because most of the Bahujan media people are labeled as the activists. The mainstream media people say that we are not credible enough. We are not journalists. We are not doing journalism. We are doing activism. They say that we are doing activism instead of journalism, and that is not rectified or approved by the upper caste or the mainstream media. So they label us that they don't have that much quality. Their content is not very qualitative. It is something shit they are doing, and they are talking about caste issues. They are talking about atrocities issue, and they are not objective. They cannot objectify it. They don't have that kind of merit. They don't have that kind of sense to write news, and they have different kind of stories in their news organization. So they label that us. So we give them answer that you need to understand it, that if stories from victims' perspectives are coming out, you need to accept that these stories are based on their personal experiences, and we are not here to make you happy. We are not here to make you feel good. We are here to tell you the story. We are here to show you the mirror, that if you are going to do something like that, if you people are doing this thing, we are going to tell our own story, and who tells your story matters, and we are going to tell your story. So we don't need you. So no matter whatever labels are there by you, we are going to tell our own story. So that credibility issue is always there. That activism wala label is also there on us. So we have to deal with it also. The Ambedkarite community journalists are also facing this credibility issue and the labeling issue in India right now. The sixth point of the challenges is that news source and fake news. Nowadays, numbers of news organizations, small news organizations are coming, which are working against anti-caste thing and dealing with the caste issues. But we don't have any reporters in different areas. We don't have any news agencies. We don't have wires. We don't have links to the government officials or ministries so that we can verify it. So most of the news what depends on is on social media's viral post. If somebody is coming on social media, a poster or a video or any information is going on and people are talking about it, so we need to make video on that. So the news source and fake news, distinguish between news and fake news is going to be very challenging to the Ambedkarite media, because we most of the people from community journalism, they don't know how to distinguish them, how to make a difference, how to fact check it, how to go through the deepening of particular news, how to verify, double check, cross check the facts. So that is going to be a very serious issue to it, because on basis of fake news, on basis of misleading news, numbers of people who are independent journalists are jailed now, and it is going to be a very difficult situation for them in future also. So that's also a challenge to the Ambedkarite media. Now, seventh point, I would say that media training and workshop to the community journalists is also very important, because the people from Bahujan community, those who are using social media as a tool, they are not professional journalists. Like they never went to any media school, they never attended any media training sessions or workshops. So now, because it's easy that you have a mobile, you have an internet connection, so you just start recording and talking about and put it on your social media handles and become overnight journalist. But journalism itself is a serious profession. Or that's good. That's fine that if Indian media is not doing, but it's a serious business. Although Indian media is not doing the serious journalism, but yes, being a community journalist, we have to be very responsible. We have to talk about facts. We cannot just talk about emotions. We have to be very accurate about the facts and the news which we are going to present to the community. So that's also a challenge that most of the Bahujan journalists who are not professional journalists, that how to train them, how to give them workshops, how to make them journalists. So because they don't have any recognition as a journalist, they don't have degrees, they don't have diplomas. So because of that, they are not part of any press club. They are not part of any digital associations which protects the interest of journalism. So they are kind of vulnerable also. So that's also a challenge to the community journalist. And to address such kind of issues, or to make some kind of collaboration within the community journalists, we have started this All India Bahujan YouTubers Meet, which Piyush was talking about in my introduction. So from past 3 years, I'm trying to having these YouTubers under one umbrella, so that we can meet, we can discuss, we can talk about the issues which are faced by the Bahujan YouTubers in India, and we can give them the classroom training. So in December last year, we had a third All India Bahujan YouTubers Meet in Delhi. So more than 150 YouTubers from the community, they attended that event, and numbers of experts, people from the news industry, the professors, the workers, the journalists from the community, they came to teach them that what is the journalism, what are the foundation and principles of journalism, how to investigate, how to report, how to anchor, how to video edit, how to make posters and creative thumbnails. So we are trying to give them some kind of basic trainings, because they have not been into any media school or any workshop. So although we don't have that kind of resources that we can have a residential kind of school, or we can give them 1 month or 15 days training, but within our limited capacities, we are working on that. And I believe that these kind of training sessions are really important for the community journalists, because it's a serious business. Otherwise, they can lend them into trouble also. So we need to make them professional journalists and to understand the media laws of India also. So that is one of the challenges to Ambedkarite media, which is faced by the community journalists in India right now. Eighth point, I'm going to wrap up very sharply, because it's almost 40 minutes I'm talking about. So, eighth point, I would say that it's team expansion. Most of our community journalists, those who are professional or non-professional, they do not, want to work as a team. In my personal experiences, I believe that when I started this newsbeak or the Shudra news organization, I had numbers of people from community, those were professional working with different media organization. So after a certain point of time, there was no reliability. So they were, thinking that it's very easy to start their own YouTube channel. It is easy to become a journalist, or start their own Facebook Facebook or Twitter handles and put content by themselves. So numbers of people they left out. They started their own media organization. So numbers of people, those who are working with me earlier, now they are running their own media organization, which is not bad. I believe that okay, that's good. If you're free to do it, if you want to do it. But if you want to start a good media organization, that we talk about the national Bahujan media, which makes an impact, which is really impactful to the community, then you have to have more professional people around you. You need to have more people, the teammates or the journalists in your team, so that you can deliver some really good content or some really great news to the community. For that purpose, it becomes a very, very difficult job to expand, to have more people in our team, although you're facing resources crunch. But still, if your community member, those who are journalists, who are professional, they support you in a way, then you can build something really good. You can do something really amazing in field of Ambedkar journalism. So I believe that many of the teammates, the journalists, they believe that okay, you can start your own YouTube media or own social media website or something like that, and become the founding editor, become the editor of CEO of your organization. Why I need to work under someone? Why I need to report someone? So that kind of feeling is also there, and that is something. I don't like about it, because if you are going to expand, if you want to have a greater media house, then you have to have more professional people from your within the community, those who are dedicated to the cause, those who are really interested to the cause. Otherwise, if you hire someone else, or obviously if we afford, we'll hire more people in our team from different caste also. But if community people, community journalism, journalist people are coming to work, that would be really helpful to expand and to make a great impactful media organization. Ninth point, I would say that some of the Ambedkar journalists are also, doing some malpractices also, and becoming the tool of upper caste dominant Hindus and upper caste Muslims tool in India. Because I have seen that we need to accept it. Because if you are just praising the Ambedkarite media, that is really good. That you need to praise your own people, those who are working, but you also need to accept that some of the media professionals, some of the media journalists who are, calling themselves as Ambedkar journalists, are also going to be a puppet of the upper caste people in India, and they are getting award for that. They are getting money for that. They are being appreciated. They are being awarded. They are being, invited for the panel talk and making them big, and they are, compromising the Ambedkar journalism for their personal goals and becoming a tool. So that is going to disturb the very mission of Ambedkar journalism. Numbers of cases are there, and that's very disheartening. I feel so disappointed that okay, these people, we are very hopeful to them. We look at them, okay, that we are going to have an Ambedkarite media organization which is going to make an impact in India. But numbers of these peoples are going to be a tool of these dominant castes. So we need to be very careful. We need to let them understand that okay, if you are talking about Ambedkar journalism, if you talk about that we are celebrating the Ambedkar journalism, then you have to be responsible. Then you have to be dedicated to the community. You need to serve the missionary Ambedkar journalism, and you cannot just compromise for just yourself. Goals or some personal things. That is very disturbing. So that's also a challenge right now, and we need to accept it. So we need to work on that also. 10th point, I would say that it's the community support also. The last point I'm going to make, I'm just going to end. The 10th point is the community support. We have seen that, on social media, on YouTube and Facebook, there are hundreds of YouTuber channels now, right now. Because when we opened this Bahujan YouTubers Meet, we received more than 500 entries, and I was just looking at their content. So numbers of people are coming to make videos on our issues now from community, which is really good, because we have to have more and more people around us. But that is somehow developing the taste of audiences also. Because if you are showing them the fear of becoming Hindu Rashtra, or the constitution की संविधान अभी खत्म हो जाएगा, हिंदू राष्ट्र आ जाएगा. So that kind of fear environment is also being by the community journalists in a way, and some kind of shit content is also being made where there is no quality, where there is no research, where there is no news, and just some kind of opinion or some kind of fuss created by them. So I feel disheartening that you are going to, develop the taste of your audience. And what is the harm of such kind of trends or the taste, being made by these other community media journalists or the organization, that if someone is trying to make really good content for the community, that is research based, that is fact based, lots of research work is there, lots of information is there, and some really interesting video editing, animations, and different things are there, and that needs to apply your reasoning or mind to understand that what does it mean. So most of the community people, they don't like it. So I find the reason behind it that what kind of taste of our audiences we are building, that is the responsibility, that is the reason for it, and we are responsible for it. Because if our the villager people, the layman people from community are not competent enough to understand such kind of content, then it's our responsibility to make them competent enough so that they can develop that kind of taste, they can have that kind of understanding to understand the research based report, the fact based reports, or some really good content. This is our responsibility. Because in my team, like we made numbers of videos, some of you might have seen on newsbeak, so you can understand that what kind of efforts we are doing it, not just telling about myself, but numbers of people, other people also doing the same thing and doing really great content on the issues. But you'll see that it is less views, people are watching it less, and that kind of support, that kind of appreciation is not there. So that sometimes demotivate you, and like you're spending 2-3 days just to make the video, and you're getting only 500 or 600 views, so that is going to disturb you. And you need to have that revenue model also. If your views are not there, if your ads are not there, how are you going to sustain? Because you're not getting any sponsors, you're not getting any advertisers, you're not going to be funded by anybody. So that becomes a challenge. So the community support has to be there. Community needs to find out that your people are working for you, they are doing lots of efforts to make your news, and getting something really good out of the news. So you need to support it also. So I believe that that community support has to be there. So that kind of 10 reasons or the challenges which I was talking about, that Ambedkarite media is now facing in India. Uh, in the end, I appreciate the efforts of Ambedkarite Association of North America and all the Ambedkarites settled in America. Recently, America's first anti-caste law was made in the Seattle city, and it was a wonderful news to us. And now anti-caste law is going to be made in California. We are very hopeful that California state is going to make that anti-caste law very soon. So, and even the big multinational companies like Cisco, Apple are putting caste in protected categories, and educational institutions like Harvard and Cal State University are banning discrimination on the basis of caste in their campuses. So that kind of news are coming from USA and other part of the country, the globe, which is really very good for us. So we look at to you very hopefully, and it is the result of the hard work of brothers and sisters like you that the news of the law is being very tightened on the castes in America. It's become a challenge to us. So that is something really good. So because taking the problem of caste to the global level is the unfulfilled dream of Baba Sahib Dr. Ambedkar. He was trying very hard to make it the global issue, and I believe that which friends like you are trying to fulfill. And sitting in India, we look towards you with hope that you guys are doing something really good in the field of anti-caste movement. So I hope that all of us together will continue to take this Ambedkar caravan of anti-caste movement forward. So wish you all the best for the initiative, and for Mahatma Jyotiba Phule and Dr. Ambedkar's Jayanti in advance. Wish you all the best. Jai Bhim. And thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak. Namo Buddhaya, Jai Bhim. I hope I was worth enough to listen. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sumit. That was very informative.
Then turn right onto State Road.
Please keep your mics muted, everyone. Thank you very much, Sumit, for the informative, eloquent discourse. And the point about saints being journalists, that is very innovative. I never looked at saints as journalists. I used to look at them as philosophers. So that's a very interesting point. And I congratulate you. I really appreciate what you do. And I congratulate you for taking the YouTubers meeting, which I think is a great initiative. Before I open the floor to questions, I think there are two platforms which you should note since we talked about sustainability. So there's something called as patreon.com, which you might have heard of. So Patreon is a pretty good model for all the speakers and independent content creators who get censored by the authority or the government, because it has less censorship and it also asks people to pay to get the news. So I think you might want to consider Patreon. Another platform is rumble.com, which is emerging as a big alternative to YouTube. And Rumble has very less censorship as compared to YouTube. But the only thing about Patreon and, of course, parlor.com, which is a right wing social media platform. The thing about these is that these are right wing media platforms. So when you start out, you will have to start out with something that appeals to their heart, which is violence against the Christian minorities. So recently there was a attack of Hinduism on Christian schools. So you might want to start out like that, with some general news and some global news that would appeal to the hearts of the people here. And then you can make it big. That is just my suggestion. So these platforms will help you monetize. Apart from that, that's it. I would like to open the floor to questions from the participants. Please keep it short and concise. Dhananjay Awale, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yes. Jai Bhim, Sumit. Thank you for delivering such a power-packed information or informative session on journalism from the point of view of our community. So you have nicely pointed out the challenges faced by our journalists, and I'm a regular viewer of your channel also. I don't have any questions as such, but I just wanted to know, like, are you planning for higher studies in journalism in USA or any other foreign countries?
Thank you, Dhananjay. Thank you, Piyush, for the suggestions. I know some of the crowdfunding sites and the support group. I'll explore some of them also, rumble.com. Thank you. I do have plans, but right now I'm stuck with India because lots of things are there, numbers of news are there, and we have very small team. We have very limited things, so I'm like stuck with it. But yes, I do have a plan to, study at Harvard. I'll try to do something in upcoming years.
Oh, great. Oh, great. Thank you so much for informing that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the question and thank you for the answer. Next question is from Megha. Megha, please go ahead, unmute yourself. And ask
Hi,
your question.
Sumit. I want to know how our community members like Darshan Solanki or Rohit Femula can reach you and tell their sufferings. As far I'm seeing, like when people are approached, nobody wants to take that seriously. People normally say people have suffered a lot. This is nothing. And these protection laws can be applied when victim is alive, but nobody wants to take it seriously. But after suicide, people show lots of care. So is there a way we can stop?
That's true that, it happens that when somebody is complaining about their suffering or talking about what kind of experiences they are going through, most of the people, they don't, take it seriously. For us, like we are available on social media handles on Facebook. We have released our email ID also. We have Twitter handles also. We have also a mobile number, which is WhatsApp number also. So that is always available to the screen. Like it's keep coming that if you want to contact us on like ticker, there's a contact detail also that how you can reach to us. So because we are, receiving more than 1,000 messages or the inbox and DMs every day, and most of them are the threats. So that becomes a challenge to us to read everything. And but I have also, there was a case in Rajasthan when one of a boy whose families was, harassed or discriminated by the casteist people. So he committed suicide. So that was very disheartening. So when I was covering that news, I mentioned my personal email ID also that if you are, going through such kind of experiences or you are having some suicidal thoughts or that kind of experiences are there, you can reach out to me. And I have, counseled some of the people also. They mailed me. I've spoken to them, but it's become very challenge to reach out to every person because we have to survive. We have to make news. We have to pay salaries to our people so that we can survive. So most of our time goes to the content creation also, because we have to have that kind of things also in our thing. But it's become a challenge. So if anybody want to reach out to me, I'm just sharing my email ID, this because this video is going to on YouTube. I for India, I Sumit Chauhan @gmail.com. You have my email ID. That's my personal email ID. You can write something if you are going through that kind of experiences, or you can contact us at contact@dashudra.com. That's our official email ID. Or you can DM me on Twitter. You can reach out. You can tag us on some kind of post. So I try to reach out to different people, but I accept that it's a challenge for us.
Thank you for the great answer. Sorry, the next question is from Dilip. Dilip ji, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey Sumit, this is Dilip. If you
Hi,
can hear
Dilip.
me, JB, I'm very impressed what you have done, and I wish I can speak as fluently as you are. But I'm from the small village of Jalna, and came from very same family as the Ambedkar's caste. And we have been doing this UN event after 10 years of, I was working for UN, so I was able to do it. And we are continue doing it because of the Indian government. Last 2 years, we had really difficult time. We had to protest and stuff like that. So whenever you get chance, we would love to have you cover in this event too. But thanks for, taking this initiative.
Thank you. I appreciate.
Thank you for the question, Dilip ji. I request Satina ji to unmute himself and go ahead with this question.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was really nice to hear your presentation. It was great. I put my suggestions actually in the chat box. It's pretty long. I'm not going to read out that. But I wanted to share my thoughts about, currently we are, of course, oppressed, but the Muslims are really, really oppressed, and we need to embrace them particularly. And also, we got to realize that these reactionary forces, these, the Brahminical forces, whatever we call them, want to use us as their tool for oppressing, attacking the Muslims. They are actually, I think, even if they eventually lose, lose their power in the center, so much poison has been spread around against Muslims. They are going to be the next untouchables in India, and we have to do something to unite all of the 85% and possibly even some progressive voices among the upper caste without letting them grab our leadership. But since as Ambedkarites, we have become more familiar with Ambedkar's thoughts and deeds. We have progressed a little more, I think, compared to these other parts of the Bahujan communities. And we should take advantage of that. Lastly, I wanted to say that you need to make a integrated kind of media in which all these parts like Twitter, YouTube, WhatsApp and Telegram and all that is there, but also make sure email group is there, because the email groups one can go back and find out useful information, which is very difficult in WhatsApp or probably even the Telegram or something. So if you start a Google group also for sharing information, that will be great. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
you
you,
very much.
sir, for the suggestion. Yeah. We
Yes,
have
please go
our
on.
Telegram channel also. We have newsletters also. So anybody who push the notification or registered with our emails, so we send them newsletters also. We'll explore more ways to reach out to the audiences as well.
What
Great.
about Google group?
We don't have that Google groups, but yeah, I'm going to explore it.
Good, thanks.
Thank you.
Great. I think we have a couple more hands up. Sanjay Sisale, please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Jai Bhim, sir.
Jai
Thank you
Bhim.
for joining this WebEx. Yes, I have been following you for years now. Excellent journalism, I see from you, sir. We greatly appreciate it. My question to you is, do you think that Ravish Kumar was or is supporting BJP agenda, journalism indirectly? Most of his news talks about fear factor and this and that, right?
I'm gonna take some time actually, if you guys are not in hurry, just to answer this because this is neat. This is very important, interesting question. Many people from my community, when I goes out to report or to meet my fellow people in different events. So many of the people, they come to me and they says, okay, we have only two Dalit great journalists. One is the Ravish Kumar and second one is the you. So I said, okay, you guys need to understand that it's not Dalit. Ravish Kumar's full name is Ravish Kumar Pandey. He's a Brahmin guy. So you need to understand that he's not a Dalit. So as far as the question is concerned, there are two kind of groups in India which are, earning and working very well and establishing themselves. One is the pro-Modi, second is the anti-Modi. So pro-Modi is, praising Modi government and, talking about Modi magic and wow, Modi is a great person. Second one is criticizing him all the time. So when Ravish Kumar says that it is Godi media, what the term he used Godi media. When you talk about Godi media, we have a anti-caste movement, which works against the casteism, which is raising very serious question on the structure of Indian newsrooms. That why our people are not there in your media organization? Why Dalit people, Bahujan people are not editors, reporters, or anchors in your newsrooms? When we raises these questions, we call this media Manu stream media or mainstream media instead of Manu media. We call it. But when you use this Godi media term, your entire anti-caste movement is gone. It is not relevant because Godi is, it is related to Modi. So they call it Godi media, Modi media, but we call it Manu media. So you are going to, just throwing away our anti-caste movement by using such kind of words. So I don't like this idea. You have to be very clear in terms, you have to be very clear in definitions and name out when you're calling it. So we call it Manu media, but Ravish Kumar is not doing. Second thing, Ravish Kumar was the managing editor of NDTV. He's my friend also. He's a good person, good journalist in profession. I appreciate whatever he's doing. But when he was the managing editor of the NDTV in Delhi, he never hired a single person from Dalit community. So he was there around 20 years, and within that time period, he could have given numbers of jobs to the community peoples, those who are into journalism, but he was not worried about to give jobs to other people. So in that contest, I would say that if you are going to tell our stories of misery, and you will become a hero by telling something, the sufferings of Dalits, that what kind of suffering these peoples are going on. I'm reporting them. I'm talking about them, and by that you are going to get awards. You're going to get your career rectification. You are going to build your career, and by telling our own stories. And if you don't want us, a professional person who is graduated from one of the finest media schools in India, who is a professional person who can work hard, who can deliver something really good in your newsrooms, you are not going to sit next to the person and giving him or her chance to do journalism or tell their own stories. So if you're going to be the voice of the voiceless, I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm not voiceless. I have the voice. I can tell my own stories. Who the hell are you to tell my stories? And you are not doing something which is really important for the community. You're not talking about the anti-caste movement. You're not talking about the caste census. You're not talking about the reservation. You're not talking about the equal representation of the people. You're not talking about the Dalit atrocities. You're not talking about the sufferings of Dalits who are going through in this country. You are just being very selective. You are just talking conveniently. You're not raising question mark against Brahminical order. You're not raising question mark to the Savarna people, those who are being casteist. You're not telling them to behave in a certain manner. You're not asking them to be a very good human being. But instead of this, you're just going to the victims and you're just showing the sufferings and making your career, and you're getting good award for that. So I don't believe that these guys are doing journalism. Whatever the anti-Modi is, you need to make it clear. We need to understand that if anything happens, if any anti-Modi sentiment, anti-Modi movement, anti-Modi journalism is going on, this doesn't mean that it is going to, be a welfare thing for the community people. It is not going to help the community people. We have to be very clear. For example, if you talk about the Kisan Andolan, that farmers agitation happened in India, it was widely appreciated or covered by the community people also. But we have a very serious thing that Dalits are landless. They don't have land. They are, laborer in their lands. They are bonded laborers in their lands in Haryana and Punjab. And if they don't have lands, and if they are working in any factories or companies or any other, industries, they might get some kind of benefit instead of being a bonded labor in their field. So we have to be very clear that if anything or anyone is talking about anti-Modi or criticizing Modi, that doesn't mean that it's going to be good for us. So I don't believe that Ravish Kumar or any other the Savarna journalist is really worth for the community. Instead of that, they are just criticizing and building their careers. Thank you.
Very nicely put, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for such great questions and great answers. We have last question from Mahindra S. So I'd request Mahindra to please go ahead and ask his question.
Jai Bhim, Sumit ji, exceptional talk today. Quick question. We have been seeing so much of Dalit aligned or favoring media, something like Ambedkar Nama, Shambhu Kumar ji, and then Science Journey. What is your opinion about it? I'm impressed with these media along with your channel as well, but would like to hear more from you as an opinion about these channels.
See, I appreciated that what these guys are doing, but I just talk about the challenge that Indian Ambedkarite media is facing. If you are going to make a big media house or the national media organization, then you have to be an ally to each other. You cannot be a competition to each other. You cannot see each other as a competitor, but a strong ally. That if somebody is working in Telangana, if somebody is working in Odisha, you can share the content to each other. You can share the local stories to me. I can share stories to you from Delhi. So we have to be ally to each other. Otherwise, you are very easy to, it's become very easy to start your own YouTube channel or make a website and become editor of that website or the YouTube channel. So that's become a responsibility that if you are into field of journalism, you have to be very responsible. You have to you need to support each other so that you can have a better understanding of Ambedkarite journalism. Ambedkar Nama, Science Journey, National Dastak, numbers of other organizations are doing really great job. They are very nicely done. National Dastak is one of the biggest media house we have in terms of subscribers. They have around 7 million subscribers. But still, the question of becoming a national media is also there. If you are running a media channel, it's not only about the subscribers, it's not only about the views. You have to be an impactful media house. What kind of journalism you are doing? You cannot just show your audiences that Hindu Rashtra ban jayega, Samvidhan khatam ho jayega, Manusmriti lagu ho jayegi. You cannot just put fear in your audience's mind. You have to be creative. You need to make them understand. You need to give them really good content. You need to behave in a certain manner so that your content, your information is really useful for the community. If you're just talking about ye ho jayega, ye ho jayega, ye ho jayega, and you're not giving them information, what would your audience do? They will reach out to different media channels like Z News, Aaj Tak, or ABP News, or some other Manu media channels for the sake of information. उनको information नहीं मिलेगा तो they will reach out to that channel again. So if we are going to give good content to the community, we need to stop them कि अभी दूसरा channel मत देखो. We are giving you the information correctly, the real news, and you need to avoid these Manu media because they are putting agenda. They are brainwashing you. You cannot just watch these video channels. So that's become a responsibility. So any Bahujan media who is working in this field of Ambedkarite journalism, so I look at them at this lens, that what kind of content you are serving to the community. I appreciate what other people are doing because we are just talking about the Bahujan YouTubers meet. I invited everyone and we said, okay, that's fine if you guys are working differently, but we have to be a strong ally. We need to be a community member. We need to behave so that we can have a larger unity to serve the community. And I appreciate what other guys are doing, but they have to be very, very responsible if they claim to be an Ambedkarite media organization. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the great answer. We have one last question from Vivek Ji. Vivek Ji, please go ahead or announce.
Yes, yeah. Hello, Jaybim Sumit Ji, for joining our call and accepting the invitation from the organization. I have one question, just like a follow-up question. Is it our social, like YouTubers or the media people copying the mainstream media's same fear, what you put it like, fear concept? And the second question, because of the time limitation, I will add my question here as well. The second question is, do you see a possibility having our own mainstream media in the future?
Thank you, Vivek Ji, Jai Bhim, for the invitation also. Yes, I would say that we people, we are living in the same society and we are affected by whatever is happening around. If Godi media, Manu media, or Manu stream media is showing us fear of becoming this Muslim nation, that Muslims are going to take over and Hindus or Dalits are being the victims, and what kind of things will happen. These Muslim people are spreading corona, and that kind of content or the fear content is provided by the mainstream or mainstream media. The same thing many of the Bahujan media organizations are doing right now. I've seen, I keep an eye that what kind of content is coming out. So I believe that you just cannot put fear in your audience mind. You cannot just like, ye ho jayega, wo ho jayega. You have to give them really good content which is useful for them. If your people is watching your video, they are spending their data. Like data is like, you need to purchase your data. You pay for it. And you pay your time also. You are watching my 10 minutes video and you are getting nothing. You're just saying 5,000 साल से शोषण होगा, 10,000 साल से शोषण होगा. Somebody will come say नहीं 15,000 साल से शोषण हो गया. It's not about the victimhood also. It's not about the fear also. You need to be very, very clear. If you are into business of news, you have to behave very seriously. And you have to be very accurate so many times. So I believe that not everyone, but yeah, some of the Bahujan media organization is also playing this fear card, and they are trying to make fool of the community audiences. Because I was talking about that. Some of the Ambedkarite media organizations are very responsible and creating really good content for the community, but they get less views, they get less, revenue for it. Hardly people, come and watch those videos. Instead of them, many of the people who says like, there was a headline I was looking at one of the channel ki Modi ko nanga kar diya Sansad mein. So that kind of language is being used. That kind of, Samvidhan khatam ho gaya, Manusmriti lagu ho gaya. That kind of thumbnails and languages is there. And that is misleading. That is creating some kind of fear among the community people. So cannot just do it. I believe that yes, our people are suffering a lot. We have a century-old sufferings. कितना कुछ हम लोग सह रहे हैं. So we have to give them confidence. We have to give some really respectful confidence to the community member that okay, whatever things are happening around, we are going to deal with it. You have to be very confident. You need to fight back. We have to make this anti-caste movement successful. So we need to put confidence among them, not to put fear in their mind. So I don't believe this idea, but some numbers of people are doing. Second question, that I'm very hopeful. I believe that I'm going to live for so long, and during my lifetime, I'm going to make the national Bahujan media. I'm very hopeful, and I have a dream to make national media. No matter what I'll do, whatever time will come, but during my lifetime, I'm going to make it.
Yeah, thank you for that
Thank
question.
you very much. Thank you very much
you.
for the interesting questions and the answers. We have ran out of time, unfortunately, but this was a great discourse. We really appreciate what you do. We understand the challenges that you're facing, and we congratulate you on the achievement, because it's a big achievement to make a space for yourself when you're overwhelmed and surrounded by the counter forces. So I think you've been able to make a mark in the field of journalism, and we appreciate that. We congratulate you on that, and we appreciate all the work that you do for the community. Thank you very much again, Sumit ji, and all the participants for participating in today's session. And we will meet again next week on the same day at the same time for another speaker and another session. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you so much, everyone. Jai Bhim, and very happy Mahatma Jyotiba Phule and Ambedkar Jayanti in advance. Jai Bhim.